question is what about being an outcast if you start doing things going against the tide, doing things that are different? You know, in the Bible, there's a verse in Romans 12:2 that says, "Do not conform to the standards of this world." And for me, I am as opposite from the average person you can get. I'm healthy, for number one. The average person is sick. You know, I'm not a follower, I'm a leader. What I say is, if you hang out in circles where people are like-minded, you won't be looked at as different. If you hang out in places or with people that think different than you, obviously, they're going to call you different. You know, I know it's different with your kids at school and so on, but with a little creativity and a little information, you can make the transition happen for your children in a fun way. As for yourself and your friends and so on, if you don't understand yet how to handle the differences, just don't talk about them. From my experience, people don't talk about food unless you bring it up. Here's one of my greatest things I tell people to avoid a lot of situations and a lot of problems. Because I have a mom and dad also, and I know how they think. So here's what I say. 3 words. My doctor said. My doctor said. You're not lying because you're your own doctor. You know, Mom, I would love to have a microwave, but my doctor said I'm allergic or I have an allergy to microwave ovens or something. And Mom, can you get me one just in case? You know, oh no, your doctor said, so we don't want to go against that. And, you know, so that goes a long way. You know, my doctor said helps a lot. For me, you know, I just like, for example, I'm a very social person, but I don't eat at nighttime. You talk about going against the tide. How can I go out to eat if I don't eat at nighttime? And everyone I know always loves to go out to eat, so I go out to eat with a lot of people. But I'm the only one at the table not eating. I'm like the designated non-eater. And I'm the only one that feels good after the meal. I could certainly sit there with a cup of water and have a nice conversation, and it's without food in my mouth or anything else. But, you know, my doctor said I shouldn't eat now. I don't feel good. I have a stomach ache. No problem. But if I start saying, oh, nighttime is bad, and giving him a lecture at the table, it's not going to go over too well. That's a mistake we make at the beginning of these things. Remember what I said earlier? I was telling people this all the time. So, you know, if people want to know, they'll get an idea or a sense of what you're doing. Give your mom a book or a video or something else. What my doctor said might help. But don't expect... You know, us, our whole lives, we didn't know this until we got this revelation. Don't expect the average person to understand what we're doing, you know, or even support what we're doing, because they care about us and don't care about our health. So they might think something's wrong from a caring standpoint. So we have to understand relationships are more important than food. It's one of the worst things I see is people say, well, I'm only going to marry a raw foodist. Well, you're going to be single for a long time. You know? Relationships are more important than food. You know, I talk about it now. One of the worst stresses you can have in your life is stress in your relationships. And one of the best joys you can have in your life is peace within your relationships. If you know the scriptures and you know the Bible and you know it, it's all about having peace in your relationships. That's what it comes down to. And that's what we need to learn about, and, you know, especially with our families and friends. And I had to learn the hard way also. You know, but I did learn, and I see it's a whole different ballgame when you just say, let people get, oh, do you mind if I eat this? Look, you can eat what you want. It's not going to my body. You know, that's your thing. I won't say it like that, but I don't mind. No, eat what you want. But this is how people think today. They're just crazy. People are so crazy. They won't eat. They'll eat like some of the worst food you can put to man. Some of the worst food. You know, but then if they see a little hair in it, they go, oh, I can't eat this. Look what you're eating. But it's just how people think. They have all these phobias that we grow up with. You know, that's what I always do. If you ever go to a potluck and you want to eat something and it looks really good, so what do they do with the extra food? They usually give it to you to take home. So if they have like a pot or something looks really good, you want to take it home, but everyone's going to eat it because it's so good, you know, here's what you do. Just put a piece of hair in there. Nobody will touch it, and you'll take it home at the end of the night and take your hair out and you have your meal. But that's this phobia that people have. They just, you know, you were there once, so you should understand. They shouldn't understand you. Because it just goes against the tide. People come to my house, they don't see a TV, they go, do you need money? I'm like, I'm fine, I just don't need money. I don't want a TV. They don't understand it. And you talk about opposites. My brother has 8 TVs in his house. No children, and 8 TVs. I don't have any. You know, and it's just a backwards thing, but we should be able to understand them because we were there. They shouldn't understand us because we didn't understand people when they were telling us these things until we figured it out. So we gotta keep our relationships at ease and just be like, okay, that's fine. I mean, you see my video show. I have a compost toilet in my house. You know, when my brother came over and saw that compost toilet, he was ready to call the nut house on me. You know, he's like, what in the world is that? You know, can you call a plumber and get a toilet bowl? And I was like, no, because I don't want to put my feces into the ocean. And he's like, what are you talking about? I'm like, well, you know, I'm going to put it in my yard and let it turn into soil. But he didn't get it. He didn't understand. But I shouldn't expect him to understand what I do, because if somebody would have told me that 15 years ago, I would have had the same reaction he had. You know, but now I realize that it's one of the worst ways we waste our resources and so on. And one of the best things we could do is to, you know, let me put it this way. If we waste our waste, it's the only reason it's called waste is when we waste it. But when we reuse it, it's not waste. So, and so on. Some of you might even think that's weird. But if you know about, this, it's not weird, it's smart. Yes. So who's going to shake my hand later? No, just kidding. Just kidding. I know somebody actually who's a colon therapist. I always wave hello to them. Yes. And that's another one, colonics. You know, people that understand, but if you tell somebody that doesn't understand what a colonic is, oh, I'm going to get a colonic. What? What are you going to do? They don't get it. You know, does everyone know what a colonic is?
Yes.
They don't get it.
This is the Raw Life Health Show. Raw Life, bright and